in the 24th hymn on page 73, which was what we discussed last time, and the message was ਤੇਰੀਆਂ ਸਦਾ ਸਦਾ ਚੰਗਿਆਈਆਂ ਮੈਂ ਰਾਤ ਦੇਹੇ ਵਡਿਆਈਆਂ ਅਣਮੰਗਿਆ ਦਾਨ ਦੇਵਣਾ ਕਹੋ ਨਾਨਕ ਸੱਚ ਸਮਾਲ ਜਿਓ. And it was honoring the common and same treatment of everyone regardless of what the belief system is, without any discrimination. And the word for that in Punjabi is samdarshi. Sam means the same, darsi means to see. To see, to treat everyone exactly the same way. For a human to exist in the physical dimension, that becomes quite a challenge. So much so that the children will normally tell you, well, the other one is more favorite for you. I was never your favorite. And there is some truth to that. Because whether consciously or subconsciously, we do start preferring, even within our own children, similarly within siblings. It's a common behavior of the human being. And for us to remember that it is the same bloodline, it's the same thing, becomes very difficult. And Gurbani is basically pointing out that that's the difference between the ultimate creator and a human mind, which is ਤੇਰੀਆਂ ਸਦਾ ਸਦਾ ਚੰਗਿਆਈਆਂ, forever and ever you are gracious and you do not distinguish the time, the season. In this world, everybody goes and gives gifts on the Christmas day or a birthday or an anniversary, etc. Say, well, that's not who you are. मैं रात देहे, whether it's a day or night is irrelevant to you. The season is irrelevant to you. And you treat everybody the same. Not only that, अणमंगिया दान देवना. Humans normally don't know what is good for them. And they will ask. And that's why there is a prevalent quotation. Ask not, you may actually get it. And when you get it, you may regret it. Because what you think is right for you, most of the time it is not. And it is not only from the creative energy point of view, it is from the physical dimension also. The children, and we have gone through all that stage, each one of us, that we always wanted something. Say, for example, when we were children, we were in a rush to grow up. Right? And then we grew up and we were absolutely fixated at the thought of starting a family, getting married, having children, etc. And every stage has shown us, when we look back, was that such a great thing? And we look back and say, well, I was better off as a child. And then now we want to slow down. We don't want to get old. And the time just moves at the same speed, same pace. Right? The whole of the scientific community is actually rushing to find a solution to the aging phenomena. And it is such a sad thing. There is a story that's actually associated with Alexander. To me, it is a metaphor. I don't pay much attention to the story, but the metaphor is very good. And the metaphor said that Alexander was looking for the elixir which will make him live forever. Abe Hayat. And he sent his people around the world to find the source of that. Ab means water and Hayat means life. That water which drinking would make you immortal. So the story says he sent his people around and they eventually found the spot. And they told Alexander that we have found the spot. So Alexander went there and he just took few drops of that water in his hand and he was going to taste it, and he heard a laughter. And he looked around and he couldn't see anybody. But every time he just brings that water close to his lips, there is a huge laughter. He looks up and he finds there is a carcass of a crow. And he looks at it and says, "Why are you laughing?" He said, "Well, I'm thanking God that some fool will join me." "Don't you know who I am? I am Alexander. You're calling me fool?" So, "Well, I was the first one and you will be the second one." Why would that be? So, "Well, look at me. Is there a single shred of a muscle on my bone? It's only carcass left, just the bones. And now I am praying to him, please end this whole drama." And he said, "Well, you wanted the drop. You took it. Now you cannot die. But the body will age. The tissue will fall. The blood will dry. Everything has gone. All those things which actually gave me the pleasures of life, which are these senses, nerve endings, they have disappeared. And what's left is this carcass. So come join me." And the story goes that Alexander immediately dropped that water. That existence of this type of life? No, it's better dead. I don't want to live forever. If the tissue and the muscle cannot live forever, then the soul to get trapped in the carcass is not a good idea. The moral of the story is that we think we know what is best for us. And the reality is only Creator knows what is best for us. And that is why the term came, anmangya. He said, what that which you are not asking for and is actually good for you, he is giving you it as a daan. Literally, what is daan? We give without expecting anything in return. Daan usse nu kahi na, right? What would be the English term for this? Donation. Okay, fine. Donation. That's as close as you're going to come. Yeah, to word daan, it's difficult to. Arms also, yeah.
Very close, but not equal.
Yeah. It's difficult to transcribe this word in English, but the point is that everything that's being given is as that grace, is as that prasad. It is that as donation to you from Him without any expectation, and He knows what is good for you. That's the key. Anamangya. What you are asking for, He knows whether it's good or not. Yeah, it's bestowed on you. No, he's saying God is giving you dan. Whatever you are getting, it is His dan to you. And prasad, grace. You can visualize the word in whichever way comfortably you can. The point of the conversation is anamangya dan devana. He is giving that which you usually do not ask for. But He knows it's good for you, and He gives it. Right. So, how did He... Now the question is, that dan is anamangya. But there is one dan which He only gives when you ask for it. There's only one thing in the entire universe which is not automatically given, and that is His meditation. You have to ask for it. You have to conscientiously make a choice. This is your decision, whether you want to go on that path or not. You have to conscientiously decide. It will, even if there is a slightest hesitation on your part, as we do in our social, would you want to eat something? I'm really not hungry, but okay, fine, since you are having it, I'll have it too. I really don't want it, but that's okay, I'll join you in a company. That type of attitude doesn't work with Him. If you say, I really don't need it, but if you say I'll get it, won't work. You have to be absolutely, categorically, without question, without doubt, sincere about that request. You have to be crying like a child to ask for it. And that's the next hymn, which is Pੈ ਪਾਈ ਮਨਾਏ ਸੋਏ ਜਿਉ. Pੈ ਪਾਈ, ਪੈਰੀਂ ਪੈ ਕੇ. I absolutely, literally, there is a term in Sanskrit called Shashtang. Shashtang pranam. Shashtang, we normally bow with our head. Shashtang means to lie down on the ground like a rod, straight. And that's a symbolism of saying absolutely not a single resistance, and there is no so-called social political correctness in it. Pੈ ਪਾਈ ਮਨਾਏ ਸੋਏ ਜਿਉ. Literally translated, I fell to His feet and ਮਨਾ ਲੈਣਾ. ਕੋਈ ਰੁੱਸਿਆ ਹੋਵੇ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਉਹਨੇ, if somebody gets mad with you and then you apologize and then you make up, that's manana. See, I actually fell at His feet. Now what does that mean? Not body wise, right? Ego wise. That I that which is carrying so much information here, so much knowledge here, that which identifies me. I met the granddaughter of the hostess in Oklahoma, and she was of the age when I met them, and they had a son of that age. It is that son's daughter. In Gurdwara, I was doing the Kirtan, and the same thing that I was saying, do you really care? Do you really want that grace come to you? And the hall is filled. Pin drop silent. And a single child speaks up. Yes, I want that. And between my statement and her response, there was no gap. Instantaneous. So everybody laughed. See? You are laughing. But that's not the real laughter. It is coming from that child heart. It's coming from that prayer. But the interesting thing was, even though her father wasn't there, on the way back home, this mother turns around and says, does it remind you of my son when he did that to you when he was 3 years old and you were doing a kirtan in New York and he said a similar thing to you? I said, yes, I remember. How does this, why does it come to mind? Is that we start seeing in others the behavior pattern. It reminds us of somebody. The identity is so firm, it immediately reminds you of somebody. That's how deep the identity is. If somebody will say, you know, Gurdeep ji, yeah, I have, whenever I see suspender in the pants, it reminds me of him. What does that mean? That has become a part of the memory. That has become his identity. So, even though suspender is not Gurdeep Singh, but the ID has joined. Unless you can wash your mind of all of these kind of identifications, not only about others, but more so about yourself. That is papai Manaee soejiyo. That is the surrendering. No identification. Nothing reminds you of yourself. I used to do this like a kid. I used to like ice cream. I used to like this. I used to like the sweets. I used to like this. It doesn't matter what it is. In Punjab, this used to be a major struggle for the mother. The girls would want ਦੋ ਗੁੱਤਾਂ and ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਮਾਵਾਂ ਚਪੇੜਾ ਮਾਰਦੀਆਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਸੀ ਰੰਡੀ ਨਾ ਹੋਵੇ ਤੇ ਹੁਣੇ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਦੋ ਚਾਹੀਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ. Mothers didn't want to do those ponytails like that. And there was always that clash. And I would wonder, what is so endearing to these girls who are fighting with their mothers? No, make two, not one. Not in the center, but on the sides. So, 50 years later, you talk to them and say, yeah, I used to like that, my mother used to slap me around. Now, I'm giving you the examples of subtle memories with which the ID gets attached. Identification. To surrender yourself at the altar of the highest energy in the universe requires all of this to have been washed out from your mind. And when you wash it out from this life's mind, then you will be surprised. The memories from the past will start rising up, and you will have to give them up also. That is called sanskara. Papai Manaee Soejiyo. He says, I actually earned his pleasure by surrendering 100%. Sadgur Purkh milaya tis jevad avar na koi jiyo. Now who you are talking about? He says Satgur. Satgur is the guide, the master, the guru. He is the lieutenant of the ultimate master, not in a physical form, but in energy form. He says that energy sent as a lieutenant to me, who then helped me and guided me to go on the path. Which path? Purkh milaya. Which Purkh? Tis jevad avar na koi jiyo. The one who is the only one, who cannot be compared. Tis jevad avar. Avar means somebody else, which you can compare with. He put me on the path, in touch with that energy which is incomparable, which is only one. Once that process started, what did you discover? He said, well, Gosai Mahenda Ithada. Now these are Potohari words, these are not typical Punjabi words. Jithe Thodo and Tandu and Mandu is the words. Gosai Mahenda Ithada. Gosai, Go means earth, Sai means Malik, the owner. Gosai word uthon aaya, Dharti da Malik. Gosai Mahenda Ithada. Is tarah da hai, he's like this. Am abbe thamo mithada. Ab word comes from Abba, which is father. Amma means Ammi, Ma. This is once I got in on that path, I discovered that the physical relationship, which is the closest relation to the child, is of the parents. That isn't that sweet. That relation is much sweeter. But you have to create that relationship to taste it first. हाँ मेरा इस तरह का अम अब्बे थामो मिठड़ा भैन भाई सब सज्जना तुद जेहा नाही कोई जियो. Not only parental relationship became irrelevant, all other siblings, bhai, bhena, brothers and sisters and friends, sajjan, friends, didn't find that energy in any one of them. And it's obvious. I mean, it's very simple to understand that each and every relation of that kind, with all due respect to every type of relationship, we all know that they are transitory in nature. They are not permanent in its quality. There is always a fear, a concern that this will go. Right? What happens when you are waiting for somebody and that somebody doesn't show up? What happens to the mind? It conjures up the worst possible scenario. Isn't it? Why is that? Why can't we think positively about that and say, well, okay, he's busy, she's busy, or something more important has come and has to attend to. No, that's not what we think. There must be an accident, isn't it? Or he's in the hospital. No, he's in jail. Isn't that the thought process? Why is that?
Sorry, we didn't hear that.
Okay. Or he ran away with my competitor. I think somebody sent me this joke that the man come drunk absolutely and can't get up and this and that, and you know the normal scenario. And when he wakes up in the morning, he finds that all his clothes are laid, and there is a breakfast, and there is a tea and a coffee, and there is a note. I need to go to the grocery, and I'll be back soon. And he was absolutely looking for some horrible day ahead of him. So he gets up, he goes out in the kitchen, and he finds the son is eating breakfast, and there also everything is arranged. And he asks son, "What happened?" "What do you mean? How come everything is so nice? And I was expecting your mom to be ripping my head off." "Well, you came last night late and you were falling, etc. And she was, really upset. She was trying to put you to bed and you were doing this, that, etc." He gave the whole story and said, "Then she had to take your shoes off, socks off, and when she eventually dragged you to the bed and started taking your pants off, and you said, 'Lady, would you please leave me alone? I'm a married man.'" Since then, she has been very happy. The first concern of the woman, when a man doesn't show up till 3 a.m., what's the concern? Bingo. And when she discovered that even when he is drunk, he's saying, "Lady," that's the message. And the question I want to ask all of us together is, why does the mind work that way? Because every relationship is of a limited time. Every physical relationship is going to end. It is that fear which drives you thinking negatively. But you don't have that fear with that creator. If you create that relationship, that fear disappears. Hence, the negative thought don't come. Hence, all other relationships, which is am abbe thamo mithda bhain bhai sab sajjana tud jeha nahi koi jiyo. They are not. This line is not saying that none of you is you God. That would be a childish statement. We all know that there is no other God, because he has already said to the Jevad Avarna Koejiyo, right? Sadgur Purkh Malaya, this Jevad Avarna Koejiyo, that's already said. This statement is pointing to the finiteness of the human relationships and the infinite nature of the relationship with the creative energy. Tere hukme saamne aaya. What happens when sound comes? Sound ਦਾ ਮਹੀਨਾ ਯਾਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਗਾਣੇ ਗਾਉਂਦੇ ਹੋਗੇ ਸਾਉਣ ਦੇ ਮਹੀਨੇ ਨੂੰ ਬਰਸਾਤ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ right it's a rainy season and what happens when the rain comes we celebrate it children dance outside and the farmer is ready because the land is going to be ready for the sowing of the seed. That's the message. Tere hukume sawan aaya. So what is the sawan for human life? The birth in human form. Right? In the human form is the only way where you can put the seed of the meditation. So it says, with your grace, with your will, savanaya. Means the season to sow. To sow what? Next line answers that. मैं सत का हल जो आया. So before you can put the seed in the ground, what you do? You till it. Right? Tilling in Punjabi is hal jo aaya. Halwaya ja raha hai. Kada? Sat da. Meaning thereby, the life is turning around for the purpose for which it was taken. It's following on the path of the ultimate truth. मैं सत का हल जो आया. नाव बीजन लग्गा आस कर हर बोहल बख्श जमाए जियो. Typical farmers kisani bhasha, farmers language. That this is the season, the rain is coming down, get the land ready. How will you do that? Well, till it. And when you do the tilling, then you bring the fertilizers and you mix with it, and then you put it down, and then you till it back up again, and you pull it down, and you pull it back, and then he goes and says, now the land is ready. And when the land is ready, he tills it for one last time and spread the seed. And then he levels the ground again, seed is hidden underneath, and his job is done. Now he sits down and waits for the fruit to come. So that's the human model in spiritual world. How? तेरे हुक्मे सावन आया, मैं सत का हल जो आया, नाव बीजन लगा आस्कर. I have taken the seed of the Shabad, of the word, and I'm making it to a seed, and I'm putting it to my heart. And I am askar, I'm hopeful of what? Har bohal. Bohal ki hunda. When you get the grain, and you take the grain and you start making big piles of it. That's a bohal. Kar bohal bakhsh jamaye diyo. What is my hope? That this seed, that effort that I am putting in, it will turn into the abundance of the grain, which is नाम दा बीज बोया है, उदा की मिलना चाहिए? You should become worthy of his grace, that he should accept you, that the labor should not go waste. Har bohol baksh jamaye jo. Baksh means grace. हाँ गुरमल एक पहचान दा, दुआ कागल चित न जानदा, हर एक ते कारे लायन ज्यों भावे तिवें निभाए जियो. Remember where it started. Manaee. See, it's pointing out to that. It says, हाँ गुरमिल एक पहचानदा. Nothing else is important any longer except ek, the one. But the word here uses pachanada. Pashanada means literally to recognize somebody. So, all of us who are sitting in this room today, can we say that we recognize ik? How? That's not recognizing it. That's making an effort to recognize it.
It's an effort to become one with one.
But that's not what it is saying. It's saying Pashanada, recognize. How? Next to you, he is sitting. On your side, he is sitting. In your front, he is sitting. On your behind, he is sitting. That's Pashanana. Recognizing him in everything, everyone. That is the message from the beyond that the master, the guru said. हाँ गुरमिल एक पछाणदा दूआ कागल चित ना जानदा. You know, he is reinforcing that there is no second. Kagal literally means कागज ਜਿਹਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ. He says there is nothing else written in my heart's paper. There is only one thing written. Everywhere he is, in everyone he is. Now the beauty of that thought, if you remember ever, is that you would have a very, very impossible time to be disrespectful or rude or demanding or arguing or fault finding or any one of those things if you remind, well, the God is sitting. Isn't it? Think about it. What a tremendous revolution would be in your life if you were to only remind yourself, this is not my husband, this is God. This is not my wife, this is God. This is not my friend, this is God. So, if this is God, how would your behavior, action, reaction change? Think about it. If God was sitting right next to you, how would you behave with him? How would you treat him?
First I will ask questions. Where were you so long? You knew what all
Only Asha can come up with that.
you knew what all I needed and you delayed everything.
See? The very first thing, even when the God is sitting, I am going to question your will. Just as शकील ने लिखा सी दुनिया बनाने वाले क्या तेरे मन में समाई ये काहे को दुनिया बनाई.
Oh, really? Don't say your calendar was too full.
He will say what we earlier he mentioned. What is good for you he knows and he will give when you are ready.
हाँ मैं गुरमिल एक पछाणदा दूआ कागल चित ना जानदा. There is not an iota of a second thought. हर एक ते कारे लायन ज्यों भावे तिवें निभाओ जियो. He says, look, I understand now. You are in everyone and everyone appears to be different because they have been given the different roles by you. कारे लाया कमा तो लाया है और क्या तू है काम कर दो है काम कर दो तू मां बन जा तू प्यो बन जा तू पुत्र बन जा तू धी बन जा तू दोस्त बन जा. What is this? That's all. I have understood it. सारे काम पे लाया हुआ है. That's it. Depending upon their characteristics, their quality, they have been given different tasks, and I understand that now. जो भावे तिवें निभाजे, whichever role you have given them, they are doing their role. So I see you in that role. तुसी भोगो भुंचो भाइयो गुरदीबान कवाए मत पहनाइयो हाँ होआ माहर पिंड दा बन आंदे पंज शरीक जियो. everyone giving the role is doing what? Pogo. They are living that role. Gurdiban kawai penayo. Now this is very important. If you take the word of the Guru, that word becomes your bulletproof vest. That becomes your defense. That's what it is basically pointing out. Gur diban kawai, kavach. Pehna dena ki kavach. Kavach ki. In those good old days, they used to make those iron things around. Arbor. Arbor. या आजकल पुलिसमैन बुलेट प्रूफ वेस्ट पा लेंगे ने कहते वो जो शब्द है that word, if you accept it from the Guru the way he has given you, it will become your bulletproof vest. And when you get that, how hoa mahar pindda, then you become the master of your mind body system. Pind means literally this body. How mahar hoa mahar pindda ban ande panj sharik jiyo. Those 5 evils which bother this body, you take them under your control. Ban lene. They are now in your prison. They are not bothering you anymore. How aya samit handiya panj kirsan mujere mein handiya kan koi kad na hangai nanak vutha ghug girao jiyo. How aya same means face to face. Te handiya, you, that creator. So now if you look at the sun and you are walking with your back toward him, the sun, does the sun disappear? No, right? But if you're walking toward, facing him, he's still there. It's just your choice whether you're walking with your back toward him or you are facing him. He says, no, I am now walking in the direction where I'm facing you. I'm not anymore running away from you. I'm not anymore desirous of the worldly pleasures. Now, aya same tahandiya. Panj kirsan mujhere mehandiya. And now those 5 the evils have become my servants now. Right? The anger has become compassion. The greed has become contentment. Attachment has become detachment. So now I'm using them rather than they using me. I mean, you need your ego, right? But ego now is actually helping for the self-preservation and helping others who cannot help themselves. So everything has turned around. They have become my servants. Mujhere. Panj kirsan mujhere mehandiya. Kan kad na hang, kan koi kad na hangai. Kan literally means kandha. He says, nobody is now going to be able to just, mota maar ke lang jana. Nobody can just ignore it and walk by, meaning thereby, those 5 cannot ignore the control I have on them now. Kan koi kad na hangai nanak vutha ghug girao jiyo. This is his vutha, means his grace. He is now in his complete, bada khosh hai, because of the path that I took. Which was the path? Papai Manaee Soejio. Why I took that path? Anamangya Dan Devana. See the relationship? I became worthy of that dawn by doing this. Wari ghumma jamda ek saha tud te aanda ujjad the vasayo haun tud viton kurban jiyo. He says, now all of the ego has been surrendered. Kuma de ke matlab war ke sut dena. Right? I mean, we normally do that. The mothers actually, I have known them, they will say, आओ मुंडे नूं अख नजर ना लग जाए कालियां मिर्चां लिया के घुमा के सुट दिओ लाल मिर्चां. All right.
Paying attention. He's paying complete attention. ਅਸੀਂ ਮਰਚੇ ਸੁਣੀ
That is घुमा के सुटना. मतलब हंकार अपना ਉਹਦੇ ਤੋਂ ਸੁੱਟ ਦੇਣਾ ਵਾ. I don't need it anymore. Wari ghumma jamda ik saha tud te aamda. Now that's the very key word. We talk about japana. How do we talk about japana? Sa de naal, right? Ik sa de vich ek shabd pura ho janda hai. There is I'll take a little tangent here to impress upon this thought. Think about it. Guru Nanak was asked this question, that while the human is dying, what is the duration of this process? And everybody was giving their own thoughts. Koi kehna, about 100 breaths. Somebody said about 10 breaths. And he said, you can guarantee only one breath. That's it. The breath that is in. That's it. Hum aadmi ha ekdami. Mohlat mar na jana. So now the question comes, if you can only guarantee a single breath, how much can you get done if you know there's only one breath left? And what was the response? You can repeat his name because that can be done in a single breath. You can make a building. You can make any other plans, but you can repeat his name. Iksaha. That is why Gurbani says, नाम जपदियां ढिल ना की चाही मेरी जिंदड़िए मत फिर सा आवे के ना आवे राम. You say, are you sure that the breath that is inside is going to go out and then come back? So if you are not sure, why didn't you repeat the word with that breath? And it is, to me personally, it is absolutely mystical, mind-boggling. When we talk amongst ourselves, even in a casual way, it's completely unknown when you will be called back. But we make bookings of vacation 5 years ahead of the time. Isn't it wonderful? Buy tickets. This year it is this, next year it is that, next year it is that, and we make plans and plans and plans. And somebody say, why are you making plans? And that is how the things change if you go on that path. And I have shared this metaphor number of times, that when somebody went to see a person who was on that path and had a question, and he walks into and is sitting in a simple hall, and he's sitting on the ground, and this young man looks around and says, you don't even have a chair here? So what to do with a chair? Well, at least the people who come to see you, they can sit. And he said, well, if you couldn't sit the way I am sitting, you should have brought the chair with you. Come on, don't make fun of me. I am here only for a few moments. So what do you think, how many moments I am here for? See the key? And that's the key. How many moments do you think I am for here? That is why I don't need a chair, because I don't know if I will live long enough to use the chair.
So that's why you make plans 5 years.
Okay, I'm not going to touch it. That's why it's a iksaha. To dete aenda. With the breath, every breath. उज्जड़ थे वसाओ हाँ तुद विट्टों कुर्बान जियो. उज्जड़ थे. The literally means a collection of dirt. That's it. There's nothing else on it. उनको कहते हैं थे. Particularly in the villages where the houses are not of bricks. When they dig the ground, they go collect that somewhere else, and they just make a pile of it. And slowly, after a while, it settles down with the rain and everything. And all there is just dirt. Nobody goes there. The children normally run up and down. That's basically it. So, ujjad the. Ujjad literally means that which is not used by anybody. The, which is what? Ujjad the ki hai? The human body. Why is it ujjad the? Gurbani says, Pasu mare das kaaj saware, naru mare kich kaam na aave. Even an animal or a bird or anything, when they leave this planet, their body is used in gazillion different ways. Their bones are ground for phosphorus, their skin is for clothing, their meat is for food, on and on and on. We'll talk about human body, what you can do with it. Totally useless.
Go back into elements.
So, that's why it is ujjad the. Donate them. Yeah. Yeah. Ujjad the vasayo. How did this become then useful? He says, because iksaha tudate aenda. You have come inside now. So, nobody else could use it, but you are using it. So, now it has been decorated. It has become useful. How tud vitto kurban jiyo. I bow to your grace. Because of that, har itthe nitate aenda man chindi so fal paenda sabbe kaaj swariyan lahen man ki bukh jiyo. So what's going on is the process is har itthe. All the time, the mind-body system is in dhyan with you. Man chindi so fal paenda, and the purpose of life is getting fulfilled. Sabbe ka sawaren lahen man ki bukh jiyo. What is the biggest hurdle on the way to the journey? Man ki bukh. That's the hurdle. The mind's hankering. The hankering never goes away. It doesn't matter how much you feed, how much you decorate, how much you give it a rest. It's never full. And it says, walking on that path took care of that. मैं छड्या सब तंदड़ा गोसाई सेवी सचड़ा नौ निध नाम निधान हर मैं पल्ले बद्दा छिक जियो मैं छब्या सड तंदड़ा. Now understand this, that is not saying that I am running away from the world. He's talking about tandada. He's not talking about the living. That's why some poet said, इस फंदे को कब तक खोले बंदा, एक फंदे के बाद दूसरा फंदा. अरे दुनिया ये कैसी दुनिया, गोरख धंधा, एक अजीब गोरख धंधा. This is a Gorakh Dhanda. Now, why is it called Gorakh Dhanda? Anybody want to take a guess? Gorakhnath was the gurus of yogis. After he died, all of his practices became such complicated rituals. Kan phado, kapde udaro, swa maro, and we're going to be a Gorakh Dhanda mere kolo nahi hunda rehna. Gorakh Dhanda. Well, it becomes complex. कभी तो कह ना एक फंदे के बाद दूसरा फंदा. That's why गुरबाणी says माटी का क्या धोपे स्वामी, मानक की गत एही. If you start washing the clay, take the water, take your sponge, and whether it is charcoal or whether it is just the clay, so you take a layer off, what's going to come from underneath? Another layer. That's it. Which is the design of human life. And it is not for few specific people, it's for everybody. It is that tandada. मैं छड्या सबो धंधड़ा, meaning thereby I am not anymore in the trap of the world whose needs and wants have been confused. When you go after wants, it becomes tandada. When you go after needs, it is living. So that's the distinction. Why? Gosami Semi Sachada. He says, I want to devote that time to your meditation rather than chasing something that I don't need, I just want. And why do I want? That's another phenomenon that we need to understand. Where do the wants develop? It has been known after studying the human mind, and it's universal. If there is next door to you something better than what you have, or you perceive that is better, you will want it. If there is nothing that can be distinguished, you will live very contented. That's why Farid said, Vekh parai chopadi. He said, don't look to the other side. Because the moment you look to the other side, you're going to find that your bread is not buttered the way the neighbor's bread is. Dekh parai chopadi. If you start looking outside, that distinction is going to come, which is what is driving. Now, majority of the young generation will say, see, it is this attitude which kept India poor. Isn't it? They will jump immediately. Because we are not materialistic enough. And, well, ever since I have opened my eyes to the world, I have never seen that race finish. As a child, I saw that people running around and comparing with each other. And when people came to America, the same race here. Over there it was, well, you know, if I can get rid of this worry of my paying bills forever, that's all I want. I mean, this country, you cannot earn an honest living. And in America, I'll do my work, whatever it is, and I'll be happy. And I'm looking for that happy person in America. And that metaphor became so real to me that a king was always sad, and his master, his guru, Rajguru came and he said, "What's your problem?" He said, "I don't know, I am sad." He said, "Well, I give you the solution to your problem." And which is that? You need to wear the shirt of a happy man. So they send the people around his kingdom to find a happy man. And everyone they talk, everybody has a sad story to tell. And eventually they end up on the ocean where somebody is absolutely jumping up and down and laughing like a crazy person, and they are looking at the distance and say, "Well, we found a happy man." By the time they got close to him, he didn't have anything on. Not only the shirt. He was jumping up and down because he was naked. That metaphor became so real to me when I came to America, because I saw within myself in 1971, the person who sponsored me was making $250 per week salary. And I translated that into rupees and I said, "Oh my God. The day I get $250 a week, I'll be satisfied." So I came to America. I started my life at $65 a week salary. And in less than a year, I was making $250 a week. And suddenly realized that's not enough. And I still don't have enough because I cannot buy my wife the big house that she wants. Still, the chase is still on. She's not happy with what I got, and she tells me that she is going to die disappointed in her husband.
You don't want to do it. You've got equity in your house, but you can go buy a bigger house with.
No,
You just don't want to.
that house is paid for, and I don't want to go back in debt before dying. So that's not buying the house, that's putting the family in debt. See, my way of looking at it is totally different. That was my father's only advice to me. He said, the principal residence should never be under debt. Principal residence should never be. And the day I was able to pay the entire thing off, I was absolutely working to pay it off. I don't want to pay mortgage. But the point I'm making is, that is a tandada. That is a Manaee poke. It does not go away. Your wants keep on becoming your needs. You start that topic in my house and you have just touched the raw nerve in my wife. Look at how grown up the children are. Don't we need a bigger house? Can you say we don't need a bigger house? And you say no, she'll tell you, leave the cup of coffee here, get up.
Not because the children are because they need to go get their homes.
That's the point.
You
The
want one for your
wants have become needs. That's what I'm saying. Wants keep on becoming needs. And that's what this is saying. Sabbe ka sawariyan line man ki ਭੁੱਖ ਜਿਉ ਮੈਂ ਛੱਡਿਆ ਸਭੋ ਧੰਦੜਾ ਗੋਸਾਈ ਸੇਵੀ ਸਚੜਾ ਨਾਉ ਨਿਧ ਨਾਮ ਨਿਧਾਨ ਹਰ ਮੈਂ ਪੱਲੇ ਬੱਧਾ ਛਿਕ ਜਿਉ. Meaning thereby, it says, I have tied this knot so tight that now that knot cannot be loosened up. मैं अपने पल्ले बन लिए गल टाइट. मैं पल्ले बद्दा छिक जियो मैं सुखी हूं सुख पाया गुर अंतर शब्द वसाया सतगुर पुरख वखा लिया मस्तक धर के हाथ जियो. Ever since I took that oath to myself, I am at peace. The life is moving on. In your memory, and you have shown me the real purpose of life, the real image of life. Satgur Purkh Vakhalaya, you have shown me what? Mastak Tarke Hath Jio. Your grace, your sport led me to this, and then what did I do? Main Baddi Sach Dharmasal hai. And that's what we came for here, to play the game of Dharma. Dharmasal means a place where you play of the game of Dharma. मैं बद्दी सच धर्मसाल है. ਆਮ ਕਿਹਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਸੀ ਇਹ ਧਰਮਸ਼ਾਲਾ ਹੈ. ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਤਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਪਿੰਡਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਧਰਮਸ਼ਾਲਾ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀ. ਜਾਂ ਤੇ ਜੇਕਰ ਬਾਹਮਣਾ ਨੇ ਮੂਰਤੀ ਰੱਖਣੀ ਤਾਂ ਆਖਣਾ ਜਾਂ ਛਬਾਲੇ ਚਲਾ ਜਾ. ਉਹ ਸ਼ਿਵਾ ਤੋਂ ਸ਼ਬਾਲਾ ਬਣ ਗਿਆ ਆਖਰ. ਸ਼ਿਵਾਲੇ ਸ਼ਬਾਲੇ ਧਰਮਸਾਲ. That's what Gurbani said. ਇੱਥੇ ਕੀ ਹੈ? ਰਾਤੀ ਰੁੱਤੀ ਥਿੱਤੀ ਵਾਰ ਪਾਉਣ ਪਾਣੀ ਅਗਨੀ ਪਾਤਾਲ, ਤਿਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਧਰਤੀ ਥਾਪ ਰੱਖੀ ਧਰਮਸਾਲ. This is Dharmasal. This is not the earth. This is not the planet. It is Dharmasal.
Almost like an inn.
Like a place where you will go and live for a while and then move. Right? A hotel, a motel, a renting place. But what you do when you are living there is you play the game of Dharma. Meaning thereby live the life in a way that you don't have to repeat the cycle. Dharma literally means your actual intrinsic nature, your original nature. Dharma is not what we call here organized religion. It's a wrong translation. Dharma literally means your intrinsic, what you are inside, in essence, without any camouflage, without any editing, modification. That's your dharma. Yeah. मैं बद्धी सच धर्मसाल है गुर सिखा लैंदा पाल के. Now this is the key. If you are a Gursikh, you would actually be running around and trying to find that state of existence. You won't be satisfied with the way the life is going on, provided you are a Gursikh. Gursikha lenda bhal ke pair dhova pakha ferda tis niv niv laga paye jiyo. Those who are looking for this, they are willing to serve anyone at any condition so that they can get and learn that name of the game called Dharma. So it's about 9:15, so we'll take a pause at the 10th and we will finish in our next sitting, so we can open for any discussion. So what is it describing is the journey of the one who has taken and made the choice, taken a conscientious decision to live the life by the word of the Master, by the word of the Guru.